The military department of Tennessee is composed of two segments, Air National Guard, Army National Guard. Approximately 4,000 in the Air, approximately 15,000 in the Army. Each of these two segments is headed by an assistant AG. I'm over the assistant AG for Air. My counterpart, Billy Jones, is the assistant AG for Army. We reported to Adjutant General Carl Wallace, and soon to be, it will be Colonel Adjutant General Jerry White. Now, on the air side, about 3,500 enlisted, non-commissioned, and about 530 commissioned officers. About 10% roughly of the members of the Air National Guard are Afro-American, and roughly 10% are women. The pay, the training, the camaraderie, the chance to travel, I know people that just hate to give it up when the time comes to get out, but it's a really, over 150 career fields. And we're talking everything from computers, information systems, systems analysts, data processing, hospitals, doctors, therapists, cost analysts, supply, transportation, jet engine mechanics, non-destruct inspection. We cover it. And the training, we send our people to the same schools that the regular active duty Air Force and others use. So top quality training. That probably accounts in a way of the pool of eligible persons to enlist in the military. 42% of the eligible Afro-Americans choose to come into the military. Only 14% of the eligible majority of whites choose to come in. So in a way, you see why we're getting a larger percentage of Afro-American participation, because they're choosing to come in. Some say, well, that's because they don't have any other opportunities. I just feel in some ways that's a negative way to describe what may be
a very positive development.
Sure, I mean, we have to remember there are a number of Afro-Americans who have a rich heritage of family members being in the military. So it's not a new idea. We talked earlier about the fact that we've been in every war even before there was an America.
I'm a military brat, as they once called it.
So what I'm saying is there is a rich tradition of that, and I think sometimes we would be robbed or denied of that if we said, suddenly, why do all these young people want to go into the military? There have been some very strong role models. Chappie James, first four-star black general in the Air Force, commander of NORAD, North American Air Defense Command. Colin Powell, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. The deputy to General Schwarzkopf, Wallace, Afro-American. A number of people. So there's a rich tradition. And as I say, in my own case, I want to be very blunt about it. The governor is the commander-in-chief of the National Guard until such time as the president activates us and says, you're hereby federalized. But until such time as that, we are under the command of the governor. So the chain of command is the governor, the adjutant general, the assistant AGs for air, and then down. The federal government provides the money, the equipment for us to train and use.
So you're using the same equipment that
it's all the federal government's equipment, but under what's called an operational and maintenance and management agreement, they say, Tennessee, in return for your making your National Guard available should we need them, we will give you funding, equipment, and places for you to train. The payroll in the Air National Guard in Tennessee alone, on an annual basis, $76 million. We're one of the largest employers around. And the state's portion of that, about $800,000. That's a pretty good deal for Tennessee.
So most of the money really comes from the federal government.
Absolutely. And yet, who remains the commander-in-chief?
The governor.
Governor Ned McWhirter, the adjutant general, and then down. That means that the governor can use the National Guard in the event of a natural disaster, civil disturbance, hurricane, earthquake. I shouldn't say that word, earthquake. So it gives resources to the governor, both as the chief of state and as the commander-in-chief. So it's a good deal for Tennessee. Excellent opportunity for individuals and a valuable resource to this state, both in terms of its economic impact, job opportunities, opportunity for training, and why shouldn't Afro-Americans take advantage of it? Everybody else has
Well,
been.
now, do you have to be involved in the regular military before you can become involved with the National Guard, or can you go
What
directly?
one must do, one must achieve and meet the same federal standards to achieve what's known as federal recognition. So yes, one initially coming into the National Guard, Army or Air, would have to go to either basic military training, or if they were coming in to be an officer with no prior experience, the Academy of Military Science or the Tennessee Military Academy. But once you meet the federal standards, and that's fair for them to say that, because they're providing, again, the funds, the equipment and everything for us to train should they need us. We train to the same standards as the active military. So they insist that we comply with those same standards. But once you do that, then the commitment is 1 weekend a month, for which we're paid, and the 15 days of annual summer camp training, and the potential, of course, if a situation like the Gulf breaks out, to go to duty. But then that's why we're in the Guard. I would caution anyone who might take my comments as if to say, well, I want to get in for the good things, but I darn sure don't want to be involved in no war. Don't come in. I wish there were an alternative way to provide the good things, but there is a concomitant responsibility, and that is to be prepared to defend America, our families, our homes, our nation, our way of life. So that is first and foremost. But we train our people well. Solid training. Our readiness level is as good as anybody
Now,
in the
that was a
nation.
question during this last minute in terms of whether or not the Guard and other reserve groups were prepared in terms of meeting the challenges of the recent war. And do you think that we were prepared in this last...
I don't think there's any question that we were prepared. I think the issue comes down to one of semantics and one of standards. The Army National Guard had some experiences, unfortunate, with the 24th Infantry Division out of the 155th out of Mississippi and another group, in which their deployment to the Middle East was delayed because they said they need to go to the National Training Center, etc. They're not quite up to snuff. Air members went right away. We deployed and were over there the day the fighting started.
Very good. And General Jordan, let me thank you for coming by and giving us that information. And let me encourage you to tune in again next week for another informative edition of Comments. Thank you and good morning.